So next on our list is to display the followers and following inside these two tabs. And let's go and take a look at how we're going to achieve this. And first of all, what we want to do is create a profile card and the sort of container for these profile cards that's going to be displayed in those two tabs. So I'm just going to clean up my open windows once again. And inside the client app, inside the features folder, and inside the profiles, I'm just going to create two new files. First one's going to be profile followings.tsx, and the second one is going to be profile card.tsx. And what we're going to do for these is we're just going to use snippets to get the structure of these two components. So for the profile followings, we'll use s_20.12.1, and this is just the content for our profile followings, which effectively is just going to be another tab pane that we're showing inside our profile content. And it's just got a header along with some content for whether we're following the current username or is following the current username. And we're also going out to our store in this case to actually get the profile that we're looking at here. So nothing new in this case. And then we've just got a bunch of profile cards, and inside the profile card.tsx, let's use s_20.12.2, which is just the content for the profile card. Very simple. We've got our card as a link to the profile's username. We're displaying the user's image, their display name, and how many followers that they have. And if we just make sure that the error's gone inside our profile followings, what we'll do next is just add this to our profile content in place of the tab pane we have here for the followers content. We'll swap this for profile followings, and we'll just add the same component for the followings as well. So the followers and followings, they're both going to have exactly the same components. And let's just reformat this, and let's just go and take a look at how this looks in our browser. And bear in mind, this is just static content at the moment, so it's not going to display anything coming back from our server, and both of these tabs are going to do exactly the same thing. And all we're doing here is just displaying the cards for the different users that the user is actually following. So nothing too crazy going on at the moment. Now what we also want to do is actually go to our API and get these followings, of course. So let's go back to VS Code and we'll open up the agent.ts file. And let's add another method inside our profiles object to list the followings. And this takes two parameters. One's the username, which is going to be a string, and one's the predicate, which is also going to be a string. And in here what we'll do is we'll say requests.get, and then we'll add backticks and profiles $username /follow, and then we add our query string, and this is going to be predicate equals $, and then we'll pass in the predicates for this particular request. And following this, we can go to our profile store again. So let's just open up the profile store. And we'll just add another action to load the followings. But what we also want inside our profile store is an observable so that we can store our followings inside them. So let's add an observable, another one, and we'll call this followings. And this is going to be a type of iProfile array, and we're just going to set this equal to an empty array initially. And let's head back down to the bottom of this file, and just underneath the unfollow action, let's add another action, and this one we'll call load followings. And it will be an async method. and we'll take in our predicate in this case, which is going to be a string. So we'll make use of our loading flag again, so we'll say list.loading equals true, and then we'll add our try-catch block and pass in the error, and we'll just add a toast saying toast error and problem loading followings. And then we'll add a running action, and we'll set the list.loading flag equal to false. And inside the try block, what we'll do is we'll get the profiles back from the server. So we'll say const profiles equals await agent.profiles.list followings. And this takes two parameters. The first one's going to be our username, and because we're getting the list of followings on a particular profile that we're currently accessing, we should have access to list.profile, and we need to use the exclamation mark again and say username. And the predicate we'll just pass in as the predicate we get when we call this particular method. We're going to be passing in what we're after here. And then we'll add the run-in action, and we'll set this.followings equal to the profiles we get back from the server, and we'll say list.loading is equal to false. And then we can make use of this inside our profile followings component. And we've already got access to the profile store in here, so let's also add the followings inside here. And we'll also bring in the load followings here as well. And we'll also need access to the loading flag as well in here. Now what we'll do, just temporarily, just so we can see this working, is we'll use a useEffect hook to go and call the load followings when this component is mounted. And this is just temporarily, just so that we can see it working. We'll do something slightly different shortly. But we'll use the useEffect. And inside here, what we'll do is we'll just say load followings, and also temporarily, we'll just manually set the predicate or hard code the predicate and say we want the following. And we'll also add the load following as a dependency of this useEffect. And I'll just reformat, and let's go down and make use of our followings inside here. Now our tab pane can take a loading indicator, so let's set our loading equal to loading in this case. The content of our header, we'll ignore this for now and come back and deal with this very shortly. And inside our card group, what we'll do is we'll just say followings.map, and we'll pass in, or we'll get the profile from each one of these, and then we'll cut one of our profile cards and paste this inside, and I'll just remove the rest of these. And the key which we need will be the profile.username, and then we'll set the profile equal to the profile. And then we just need to go to our profile card and add an interface for our properties here. So let's go back to the profile card, and I'll just create an interface called iProps, and this will take a profile of type iProfile, and we'll just add this as the type and just say iProps, and then we'll just destructure the profile in here, and then we can just fill in the blanks where we've got the different properties we need to add. So the link will be a link to $profile.username, and the image source, we'll keep the placeholder image and we'll just add an or statement for that. So we'll say profile.image or the user.image, and then we'll just update the profile.displayName And for the number of followers, what we'll do is we'll just say profile.followers counts, and then just keep the text for the followers inside here. So with this in place, we should be able to test this and make sure that we can receive the profile cards or the profiles for each user that the user's following. So let's just go back and take a look. And I'm still on the currently logged in user. I'm logged in as Bob, and if I click on followers, then we can see the loading spinner. And actually, I've clicked on followers, but it's actually the very same thing as following. And all we've done at the moment is just hard-coded the predicates in this case. So we're going to get the same back for both tabs in this case. But what I am seeing is that I'm getting the two users that the currently logged in user is following. Now obviously we want to have a different impact when we click on these different tabs, and our use effect is not going to cut it for this particular scenario. So what we're going to look at next is how we can load the different profiles depending on which tab is clicked, and we'll take a look at that next.